Hey, baby, said the way you move, gonna make you sweat, gonna make you groove.
Hi, I'm Chris,
And I'm Jeff, and welcome to the Sound Judgment Podcast.
where every episode we'll be discussing all of the important musical topics, from reviews to which member of Motley Crue is the most vile.
I'm gonna judge the officials. I'm gonna judge all the judges. It's gonna take you people years to recover from all my opinions. 3, 2, 1, refresh.
Refresh
Everything's
the page.
fine.
What a great week for new albums, Jeff. We got new Metallica, we got a good new Overkill, we got some Archon Angel, our old friends, Circle to Circle. Archon Angel, and we won't be listening to any of that.
No. Well, I mean, okay. Not that we won't be listening. I've literally listened to all of these things, but that's not what we're talking about.
We won't be discussing any of that.
I mean, no, we probably actually won't. I don't really think I have a whole lot to say about most of them. My thoughts on Archon Angel are it's good. It's Zach Stevens being Zach Stevens. It sounds like everything he's done since Savatage, basically.
Agreed.
So it's great.
Thumbs up.
Metallica is new Metallica. Everyone has their thoughts. I'm not expressing mine. No one wants to get into that. That is such a dead horse conversation already. And the album's been out for a week?
Yeah, I'll tell you what. I feel like I'm in the perfect place because I think the album was fine, which means I get to be annoyed at everyone who says it's like the best since Justice, and annoyed at everyone who hates it. So I just get to be hateful of everyone. I get hate in every direction. It feels
Which
great.
is the thing, that it's one of those albums that it's like you're not allowed to be met on. It's like you either have to think it's the worst thing ever, or you have to think it's their best work in 40 years, and it's safe to say I think it's neither of those. It's another Metallica album. It's good. It was fine. I don't think it's trash. It was fine.
If I can go off on one tangent, I feel like that they're writing all of their shit as like jams, and then rather than refining it, just laying down whatever they have whenever they think they're done with the song. Like, the songs need some refinement, and every song needs to not begin with. There was too much of that same drum intro.
It's pretty samey. It's fine.
But new Overkill was great, I thought.
Yeah, it's really good. But is there anything notable on there? It's more Overkill.
But
they are so consistent. You know what I mean?
Yeah. Well, since 2010, I think their earlier shit, they did have
Well, there were standout tracks for a long time, I think, but I don't think they've had a standout track, but they also haven't had a bad album in a long while. They've just been pretty consistent for the past, 15, 20 years maybe. Not bad, I'm not complaining. I've been digging the album. I've listened to it quite a few times now.
Speaking of things that have been around for 15 years, let's talk about Babymetal.
Oh, are we starting with Babymetal? Let's talk about Babymetal. Okay.
No, I promised last time that we would go on to more cute girls singing rock in Japanese, so I can't.
Did.
We have to follow that up.
Okay. All right. Quick little thing here, just because I thought this was way too fun. So, overview. I'm sure this is not news to anybody, but Babymetal originally had 3 primary singers, 3 primary members, right? You had Sue Metal, who is Suzuka Nakamoto, Moa Metal, who is Moa Kikuchi. Again, I apologize for any of my pronunciations here. And Yui Metal, Yui Mizuno, I think is the last name. And Yui Metal had to leave in 2018, 2019 due to health issues, ? Apparently it's not really public knowledge what those health issues are. So it was just down to Sue Metal and Moa Metal for a while. They added this group of background dancers called Avengers. And just with our luck here, we decided that we're going to talk about this album. Between then and now, they brought in a 3rd main member again. Did you see this?
Yeah.
So one of the Avengers, they promoted to full-time vocalist. Officially, I'm seeing them labeled as Scream and Dance alongside Moa Metal. And this new member is Momo Metal, or Momoko Okazaki.
To the best of my memory, this was announced on like a Friday night or a Saturday morning.
Okay.
So I was actually working overtime listening to the new Babymetal at work because working Saturdays is like the only time I'm supposed to listen. Well,
You're
not
allowed
supposed
to.
but I listen to the music while I'm working.
Yeah.
And I remember going on break and actually like reading that as like breaking news, or like it happened at the concert the night before or something like that.
Oh, that's awesome.
And so I was like actually listening to the album for the first time when I read that happened.
Oh, that's kind of fun. That's kind of fun. So yeah, so I mean, unfortunately, the album we did listen to is their newest album. It's called The Other One. This is recorded obviously pre having 3 main vocalists, but still, it was fun news to see.
It's still with 2, right? It wasn't recorded with the third singer. The third singer was added after.
Yes, added after the fact. This album was recorded pre-edition of Momo Metal as a third vocalist. But it was just fun news to see, like, oh, hey, I've been listening to this band, and now all of a sudden there's big news about them, you know. It's kind of fun. So I guess before we start, I'm curious, do you have a history with Babymetal? Like, what have you listened to? I mean, obviously, you know who they are. Everyone knows who they are.
Yeah, I know who they are. I remember they dropped in like 2015, right?
Yeah, 15 or 16.
Somewhere around there. And I remember when like that first Babymetal album came out, and I listened. I don't know if I listened to the whole thing or if I listened to just like a bunch of songs off of it. And I know a lot of people had strong opinions on it, and I wasn't against it, but I just didn't really think much of it. You know, combining that sort of J-pop idol thing that I really don't get with like metal and kind of like, you know, obviously in both image and music, but it felt like, you've used the word before, kitschy.
Yeah. It's extremely gimmicky.
Yeah, the first, at least the first album, and I didn't really explore beyond that. So this is actually my first time since that first Babymetal album, which, I mean, that was 2015. They were kids at the time.
Yeah.
This is, you know, obviously this is like a new slate at this point.
Yeah. Okay, so you're on the same page I was. Like, I knew a handful of songs, which I did look, and they're mostly off of their first, the self-titled 2015 Babymetal album.
And for the record, while doing this, I did go back and listen to that, and I don't think I have any more positive thoughts than I did then.
No,
that first album.
My thoughts on Babymetal in general when they came out were, I'm glad someone enjoys this, but there's nothing here that's particularly interesting to me. It was very, very generic music. I mean, it is like the most cliche-sounding, thrashy, mellow death influenced rhythms with
it tried to be
young...
unique. It tried to be unique by taking 2 generic styles of music, like the most generic aspects of 2 kinds of music, and putting together rather than like with especially good songwriting or anything.
Yeah, it didn't do like that's exactly what it was. It was extremely generic J-pop put on top of extremely generic, very heavy metal. And, I mean, it was entertaining and cute for what it was, but it was very much like, this is a gimmick, and if you're having fun, that's all that matters, but this is nothing more than a gimmick. And that kind of did carry on to other albums. I knew a couple songs off of their 2016 album. There's a song called, I don't know, Yava or something, and then they have a song called Karate, which, like, they're kind of more of the same. It's what I expected from Babymetal. It was also only a year later. We are now in 2023, so we're quite a bit removed here. They have grown up a lot, and they released this album called...
Yeah, these are like 20... These kids are 25 now.
They're in their mid-20s.
Yeah, and this is album 4, right?
Yes, they did have an album in 2016 and an album in 2019 called Metal Galaxy, which I know almost nothing about, other than the fact that it features a lot of people. Like, it has Tim Henson and Scotty LePage of Polyphia on one track, but I don't know the track, I just know they're a feature. It's one of those, like, it has a bunch of features on different tracks. I don't really know much about it, though. So this was kind of me coming in, I don't want to say blind, but I was coming in expecting that this is not going to be the first album all over again. This is long enough that I'm thinking, like, I don't think the gimmick would really last this long without expanding on it. So, okay, so we're in the same general realm here. Oh, I will also have to say, though, So I was coming into this like, okay, so obviously they're breaking away from the gimmick and whatnot. And then I also saw that they're going on tour with Death Clock, which I know that people genuinely do like respect Death Clock as more than just like the gimmick of what they're created from. But I can't help but look at that and just go like, that's another gimmick. It's now a gimmick band touring with a gimmick band.
I can agree with that, but I'm gonna, I guess play devil's advocate here for Death Clock, in that the songs that are, like, written for the show, and featured on the show that, I mean, the ones that are on the show, they're like, they play, like, clips of. And those songs I generally don't think much of, but they have songs that are specifically written for the album that I think are generally way better.
Yeah, no, I know that they are actually a legitimately respected group, and I understand that. But as someone who's just not a fan of them and did not find the show amusing, I just look at it and it was kind of a put off of just, maybe they're not breaking away from the gimmick as much as I thought they were. Because
So you don't want to see Babymetal with Death Clock, because we can get tickets right now.
I don't want tickets to see Babymetal and Death Clock.
That's a shame.
But like, I also am just sort of surprised they don't seem like there should be that much of an overlap in the two bands.
Oh, no. I know a lot of people who are in both audiences.
But see, that's what's weird to me, though, because the only connection I see is that they're gimmicky metal bands.
Yeah.
Which, I mean, again, is fine. It's just, it definitely, I started listening to the album a little weary. I was excited when I saw the album existed, and then I kind of was like, I don't know what's gonna happen. And then, I'm just gonna come out and say it, I was pretty pleasantly surprised. Gonna be honest.
I like this album.
I've actually really liked this. Okay. So there's a lot of like modern prog genty influence stuff scattered through here. Like the intro to the song Mirror Mirror is really kind of cliche sounding. You get the chug chug and then these big interval runs and then chug 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 and then big interval runs and then rinse lather repeat, and the verses are just chugging away on some pretty basic riffs. It's fairly predictable, but it's not bad. It's definitely a big stray away from Gimme Chocolate, which was my introduction to them back in the day.
Yeah, exactly. I remember Gimme Chocolate. Yeah, these feel like better constructed, better written songs.
Yeah. Oh, very, very much so. There definitely was an evolution, which, again, I don't know if I missed this on the album Metal Galaxy in 2019 or if this really is new, but yeah, they really are suddenly taking themselves very seriously.
It went from being very gimmicky to kind of reminding me of like, is it Annette Olson era Nightwish or something like that?
Yeah,
where they got kind of genty, kind of.
Yeah, I can see a little bit of that from the Annette era. I mean, that was like Dark Passion Play. So, I mean, that was at least, if nothing else, that was the band experimenting a little bit more.
And Nightwish are done touring now, so now you have to go see Babymetal.
That's not true. And I've seen Nightwish. I don't need to worry about that again. Yeah, they are done touring, though, which I'm just convinced that band...
Allegedly.
I'm convinced they all hate each other. I don't really understand anything going on with Nightwish anymore.
Which is kind of a shame, because I heard one of their new songs, and I think it was the most I've liked them since Tarja was in the band.
Oh, no. No, I love Annette.
You love Annette Olson.
I love Annette. That was the best era.
They have Floor now, though.
They do, and she's phenomenal.
Yeah.
I mean, Floor is probably the best singer they've ever had.
And it's great, because now she doesn't have to tour.
Yeah, it's just not changing the fact that I just don't like what they've written as much since then. But that's fine. We're not talking about...
I don't know. I've heard the one song. I liked it. Anyways, let's
back
derail.
Back to the babies. Let's talk about the babies, Christopher.
I want to go home now.
It's getting weird, isn't it? You are home. You shut up.
I want to leave. I want to go be not home anymore.
I want to talk about more Japanese girls, Christopher.
I know.
I had enough mental breaks last time we did this. Let's go. No, I'm not gonna have a mental breakdown. I did just enjoy this album. I think other, like, okay, how about like highlight tracks?
I'm with you on Mirror Mirror.
Okay.
I think that's definitely one.
Do you have anything? What are your thoughts of, if any, on I'm gonna guess this song is supposed to be pronounced Metalism. It's track 7.
Give me 1 second.
Metalizm.
Memorized all of them by track name yet.
Well, okay, then obviously you have no notes specifically on this song, which is upsetting to me because this is by far the coolest thing I've heard in a long time.
Okay, no, this is the one with the
This is like straight up drum and bass.
Yeah,
Yeah.
cool. Thank you for saving me from saying something questionable about the intro. You say what ethnicity it sounds like, not me.
It's not an ethnicity. What are you talking about?
It has like an Egyptian or Arabic sounding opening.
It really does. It does have a very it has a very Middle Eastern intro, and then it breaks into having like very literally a very drum and bass beat behind it.
Yeah.
I mean, this song really is veering into the world of like synthwave and EDM stuff more. It's really
I actually
cool.
really like it.
And it has the goofy, shreddy guitar stuff. The vocals have that super snappy staccato rhythm. Like it's almost like nu metal vocals on top of like an EDM drum and bass beat with some shreddy guitars. Like, this is just such a cool track to me.
Yeah, no, I actually, that's one of the ones that I also really liked. That one, Mirror Mirror, I think Divine Attack was one of the ones that I like, and I think I like the close of The Legend.
Okay, so The Legend, so it does end with a track called The Legend, which, of course, the album ends on this, probably the softest song on the album for the most part. It's very pretty, to put it simply. It sounds almost like a power metal ballad. It's very pretty, and it has these great melodies going on, and then it kind of breaks into these wall of sound style choruses, you know, the big chords that just ring out, and you have the synths and like a synth choir. I mean, this almost sounds like it's taking a page out of like the Devin Townsend Notebook.
God, what a shocker that I would like something that sounds like that.
That's kind of what I figured, yeah. Man, speaking of... Oh my god, I'm sidetracking again. I'm sorry. Speaking of tours, though, did you see the tour that Devin Townsend's going on?
I genuinely was thinking about going down to Washington to not watch Animals as Leaders and leave before Dream Theater.
I was gonna say, it's Animals as Leaders, Dream Theater, and Devin Townsend.
Yeah, and he's playing in the middle, which means I get to show up late and leave early.
A friend of mine sent me just the image, the tour poster, and said, "Do you want to go see the least stage presence ever on one bill?"
Devi's pretty good.
Yeah, I give credit where it's due, but like the other two are not known for their stage shows.
Yes.
They're known for being technically incredible, but as we have discussed in depth, I think about both of them, they are among the most boring bands to see live.
Man, getting through Dream Theater before Iron Maiden was one of the most painful experiences. Because not only did I not want to see him, but they were playing 6 long songs, and that's like the worst thing Dream Theater can do for me.
I have no recollection of what songs they did.
I remember As I Am, because that's like one of the songs that I don't mind, but when it's a 6-minute song lumped between other 6-minute songs, I don't want to hear that one either.
That's the song... Hold on, what's the line? There's a live recording where they change the lyrics. And instead of Take Me As I Am, it's, what is it? Like Sniff My Ass and Balls or whatever? Do you have any idea what I'm talking about?
God, I think I've heard something like that. But...
There's some recording of it where they change the lyrics for one time. You know, Take Me As I Am, or whatever the lyric is.
No, you got it.
Eat My Ass and Balls. It's exactly what it is in the song As I Am. But yeah, I mean, anyway, that's just a tour that I happen to see is a thing that exists, and I want nothing to do with it, but hey, it's cool that it exists, I guess. Happy birthday to somebody. But yeah, so Light and Darkness really gave me like Devin Townsend vibes. It has that big...
Light and Darkness or The Legend?
The Legend! I'm sorry, The Legend. Light and Darkness is the one that I wrote that's probably like the catchiest song on this album. It's one of those ones where I was getting it stuck in my head, despite the fact that I actually don't know a single word. But it's another one that has the very drum and bass style beats going on, which, I mean, I think no surprise to anybody is suddenly a thing that's appealing to me. You're adding like synth music to hard rock and heavy metal. Like, I'm gonna be on board with this. Yeah, I mean, okay, so this is a really
Confirm Jeff will watch another season of Bocchi the Rock if they
That
get
is-
if they get a synth player
If they
or
hire
a
a
guitarist.
If they hire a DJ, I might watch it to go alongside them. No, I want to talk about the intro track though, Metal Kingdom. Do you have thoughts on Metal Kingdom?
No, not really. I'll say this, it did prepare me to be not prepared for what Babymetal sounds like anymore.
Yes, that is a great way to put it. So Metal Kingdom does a really good job switching up the dynamics. It's the an intro track, and it has like a soft intro that builds up and leads in, then it explodes, then it pulls back, and it's quiet for a moment. And it goes back and forth a few times.
Yeah.
And it did two things for me. One, I'm agreeing with you. It gave me an idea of like, okay, my expectations of Babymetal are wrong. Like, this album is going to do a little more than I thought it was going to.
Yeah.
But at the same time, it also brought up probably my biggest issue with this album, which is that I'm listening to Metal Kingdom and it's just kind of falling through a pattern where you just sort of know what the next step is gonna be.
Yeah.
I was surprised in that I didn't think they were gonna go for this formula, but once I put it together that, here's the layout of the song, there were no surprises in the song itself, which I think is still Babymetal's biggest fault, like their biggest flaw, is that everything still feels pretty formulaic. Individual songs, I hear it for the first time and think, oh my god, that's not what I was expecting. But once you get over the shock value of they've grown up, they've matured, they're doing something different, it's still very much pop music with a heavy metal band behind it.
Yeah, completely agree with that. And I mean, it's not a shock from what I'm seeing. They still have like the same, I guess, writer. I guess there's been one guy writing all of their music.
I was a little confused as to the the creative team behind it, because there's a lot of names throwing around and I don't know who any of these people are. But other than I did read that one of their former guitar players had died, otherwise it's a lot of the same people, or at least the primary people are all the same. But I'm wondering where the change is coming from. Like, who's writing enough to say this needs to change?
Here's my thing, is that from my understanding, the band members were just band members, and the Babymetal 2 or 3 girls were just the front people, and they've had like one writer this whole time.
And this is just like the creative project of one person,
yeah.
ultimately. Yeah, I mean yeah, so it's sort of what's that power metal opera, Arion or something?
I mean, there's Arion and there's also Avantasia, where...
Is Arion the one that's written, like, basically by one person and he just keeps hiring vocalists to play characters and whatever?
I think they both kind of do that.
Oh, okay.
Avantasia is the one I know for it, but I think Arion also does the same thing. Because Avantasia, every album is a concept album, and it's all written by one guy, and it's...
okay, maybe that's what I'm thinking of
guest
then.
Singers, and I think that Arion does something very similar, but I don't listen to them quite as much.
I don't listen to either of them is the problem. I'm kind of going off of what other people have said about them.
There's like one Avantasia album that I really like.
Oh, okay. But yeah, I kind of that makes sense. It's very much like a written project by somebody with a group of people to do the performing. It's kind of like Trans-Siberian Orchestra has like a handful of primary composers. Like you have John Oliver and Robert Kinkel, and they were writing everything and then hiring people to bring it to life, so to speak, which is totally fine. It just, I think this is a nice change from Babymetal.
Yeah,
but it was awfully formulaic.
It's awfully formulaic, but the songs do feel more cohesive. Whereas the first album, like I said, it felt like 2 songs Frankenstein together. So it felt like a pop song and a metal song kind of sewn together. Whereas this one has a more natural, like every song feels more natural. It's just, yeah, you're right. You can't predict where they're going, which for for metal is kind of undesirable, but for pop is like kind of what you
Is
want.
what you want. I mean, it's
so
I'm torn on where to feel
really
about
know
it.
how to feel about it. Yeah.
Yeah, I'm very torn on it because it definitely is pop sensibilities written with a metal band.
And ultimately, I think that they are just trying to go for that, like, for the widest possible audience with kind of a metal gimmick, you know?
Yeah.
I'm not
Ultimately,
here to be elitist about it.
no, not at all. I mean, again, I had a good time. There's definitely some tracks here I'm going to keep coming back to periodically because they are fun. But in the end, and I think I've even said this before, you know that feeling where you're listening to one thing and it just makes you want to listen to something else? Like, it's close enough to something similar, and you're just like, God, this one song by Sleep is really good, but I just want to listen to Black Sabbath instead, right?
I put on I disagree after this.
Okay, I can see where that connection came from, but that's not what I was thinking. Because my problem is, whenever I think of and whenever I listen to Babymetal, it just makes me want to listen to Iron Bunny. Do you know Iron Bunny?
Yeah, I know Iron Bunny.
Okay, it just makes me want to listen to Iron Bunny. To clarify, Iron Bunny is... They started off basically as a Babymetal ripoff. It was 3 young J-pop singing style Japanese girls and a guy who goes by the name Eddie Iron Bunny, who wore this, like, he looked like a cyborg bunny samurai. And he was, like, the story is that he was sent to Earth to save rock and roll or whatever.
Yeah.
And it's, in a way, it's a Babymetal ripoff. Like I said, it's 3 young female singers who do a J-pop style over hard rock music. The difference is, Eddie Iron Bunny is the lead guitar player, and he's much more like 80s rock, big riffs, solos kind of thing.
Yeah.
And I just think as like the compositions were much more interesting. They were a little more fun. They were a little more cohesive. They feel like songs that should exist. And it just makes me sad because they released like maybe 20 songs total and then disbanded.
What does it say? Rest in peace, Iron Bunny.
Rest in peace, Iron Bunny, as of, I think, late 2021, if I remember correctly. Yeah. Very sad times. Love Iron Bunny. But hey, you know what, Babymetal, you done good. This is
much better. Big improvement.
This is a fun album, and I'm genuinely going to look forward to whatever comes next. Like, in a couple years when they're releasing, you know, whatever their next album is. Like, I'm genuinely looking forward to it, because this is a very cool step in evolution for them.
Okay, yeah. For this week, instead of saying thumbs up, we're just going to say we give Babymetal chocolate this week.
We do give Babymetal chocolate.
They get chocolate.
They do get chocolate. In fact, they get 3 chocolates because they now have 3 singers. And even though Momo Metal wasn't part of this necessarily, she still deserves it.
I'll give them 4 chocolates so they can, you know, give one to the previous member too.
You know what? Yeah, we can still reach out to oh my god, I feel so bad. I just said her name not long ago. Oh no. Yui Metal. We're gonna reach out to Yui Metal. So 4 out of 5 chocolates.
We are not coming to your show, but we will give you an address where you can come to claim 3 Hershey bars, the official chocolate of Pennsylvania.
No. It needs to be 4. Remember we discussed this. 4 Hershey bars.
4. We will give you 4, but you have to give one to the former member. You can't take it home yourselves.
Yes. Yeah. Yui Metal deserves one too for being a part of you guys and getting you this far.
Years of dedication.
God, don't subject them to Hershey. Like, we can do so much better.
Okay, you're right.
Like, doesn't most of the world say that Hershey chocolate tastes like vomit? Yeah. And it's because of whatever, like, preservative acid is used, right? Yeah. So, like, I mean, come on, we have better local chocolate.
You're
like,
right.
we could give them Ceres.
We'll give them a Ceres.
Or there's Romulo up in Erie. There's Wilbur's if you go out to Lancaster. Like, there's better chocolate. So yeah, 4 chocolates for Babymetal. I agree. Any other thoughts? You good?
I think that's it. Am I good? That's a great question, Jeff, but I don't have any more thoughts about Babymetal. Am I good as a question for therapists and counselors alike? But no, I think I'm good on Babymetal.
How does that make you feel?
How does Babymetal make me feel?
Yeah, how does that make you feel?
Do I need to get to the core of how Babymetal makes me feel? You know, honestly, it makes me feel better than the new Metallica album.